welcome back to the Faithful You Knitting Podcast. My name's Hazel. This is a spinning, weaving and hand dyeing podcast from Wales in the United Kingdom. Hope you're all well, hope you're all having a good summer. If you're having summer at the moment in the Northern Hemisphere and that the sun's returned for you, we're having some beautiful weather this week. The temperature at the moment on the thermometer is 32 degrees and it's only 12 o'clock at lunchtime. So I found the coolest place in the garden, under the shade of my favourite tree, by the fruit cage, to any of you who watch my other channel, and just by the greenhouse. So it seems to be the coolest place in the garden at the moment, so I thought that I would just sit here and talk to you guys. Excuse the noise in the background, but there's somebody at the factory at the back who does the beehives, and he's clunking about a bit, so you have to excuse the noise, but I wanted to make the most of it before the weather gets really hot, and then it'll be too hot for me to do anything. So I've been very busy with different crafts. I've been weaving, as you saw on my Instagram post if you follow me on there. I've been catching up on some weaving projects. I've been crocheting, I've been knitting, I've been hand dyeing. So I've been up to a few different things, and I've got a few lovely different things to share with you today. I've also got some acquisitions. I've broken my yarn fast and I've been and bought some yarn. Not a lot, but I have bought some yarn. And I've started a new dye journal for my natural dyes as well. So yeah, there's quite a lot to show you today. I've also bought some books since I last spoke to you, so I've got them to show you. Yeah, so we've got quite a full episode today, so I thought that today was a good opportunity. I can sit in the garden, you can hear all the sights and sounds of the things that are around me, and we can talk about my favourite subject, and that is my knitting and crafting. So yeah, so I've also been doing some spinning, so I'll show you that as well. So yeah, should we get on with works in progress? There's not that much to show you really with works in progress, but I've done a few. So let's have a sort out and see what's in my bag of goodies. As you know, I've been making a pair of socks. I've been making these, and these were slightly too big. These were the last pair that I finished and showed you. It's just my own pattern, make it up as I go along. I cast on 60 stitches, done an afterthought heel, done the toe, done the cuffs in a different colour, as the different colour to the heel, as you can see. And yeah, it's just a basic sock. It does fit, it's nice and comfy. It's a bit more of a slipper type sock rather than a tight fitting sock, so it was a little bit loose. So that then prompted me to cast on this one, and this one's been done in some vintage yarn. And again, I've started doing the toe. I've got my colour band for the afterthought heel. The cuff is done in a different colour. Now I cast on 10 stitches less, so there's about 50 stitches here, and that fits me nicely. But the problem I came up with was I did the toe too long, too wide, so it's a bit baggy. So what I needed to do really was, where I've done this straight bit here, was start the toe there and tilt it in, but I didn't do that. But that's what I should have done really. But I started doing the heel on the back, the afterthought heel. So what I'm going to do is, because I've already started the toe on this one, I'm going to undo it and I'm going to carry on doing it the way I want to do it on this one. So yeah, this is just far too big on the toe. It's really baggy. It's not going to go on my shoe very well, so it's just not worth keeping it really. So I'm going to undo it and start that one again. So because I'm already part way through this one, I've not got as much to rip back, and I'll do the toe properly on this one and then do it on the other one. So that's my work in progress with my socks. I lost them. I have a habit of losing my knitting, or losing the wool to go with my knitting, which seems to be the story of my life, and that's what happened with that. So the reason I've done it in two different colours is because I didn't have enough of the yellow, but I really wanted to use the yellow because it's a vintage wool, it's a Lister wool, and I'd had one or two balls kicking around, so I thought I'd use it. So that's why we've got two-tone socks. So they're going to be like this one, but a tighter fit so I can wear them in my boots in the winter. I do have another pair of socks on the needles, but I've only done about that much, so it's not worth showing you that, so I didn't bring them. But they're in my little Cath Kidston toadstool bag. which I am going to be making when the weather sorts itself out. My other work in progress is my shawl. What is it called now? I'll put a picture here for you. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, so I'll put it underneath. But I've started that now, so I've only done that much. But again, I couldn't remember where the pattern was. I forgot that I'd started it, so I only started it last week. So I've only done that. I've undone it twice because I couldn't get the pattern. Even though it's only got one row of increases, I still couldn't get the pattern in my head. So yeah, so I've only done that. So I'll put a picture up and the name of the shawl at the bottom. So that's that. And I've used my stitch markers that are going to be for sale in my Ko-fi shop the weekend. So that's them. The other thing I've been knitting is this. And this is a vintage jumper. And I've done the back and I've done the front. But then I've done the sleeve and now I've lost the wool, so I can't finish it. But the sleeve, you know, looks really, really small. Look how small that sleeve is. Really tiny. But this is my pattern. It's a 1984 odd pins pattern that I found in my stash. Probably one I bought when I first started knitting many years ago. So when I bought many years ago when I started knitting. So yeah, so that's it. So as I say, I've done the back, I've done one sleeve, but I can't find my wool. It's in the garage somewhere, but I've had a complete sort out in my garage and now I can't find anything in my room. So there's one piece, the back, and one piece for the front. So it's knit on, it's called odd pins because it's knit on two different size needles. It's knit on a 4.5mm needle for the purl row and a 12mm needle for the knit row. So that's what gives it that nice open weave. It was very fashionable in the 80s, mid-80s. So I have got another one I want to do when I finish this one, which I might start because I can't find the wool to finish that one, so I may as well start the next one, which is going to be this one, which again is an odd pins pattern. Probably find them on eBay. And I've got a wool that looks like a hand spun yarn, which again is a mohair. So that's going to be that one. It's going to be nice and snuggly for the winter. But I love this colour. Beautiful colour. I'm going to dye my hair again. I'm going to dye it black because I don't like this red. It doesn't do anything for me at all. Makes me feel, I don't know, just doesn't do anything for me. So that lives in my Emma ball bag with my puffins with their lovely jumpers on. So that's that. And the last thing I've been working on is toadstools. I'm making mini toadstools. I'm going to make a wreath, and these are for the wreath. So I've done the bottoms, I've just got to attach the top and put the filling in, do the little spots on the top, which I'm going to do with beads. I've got 2 bottoms and 3 tops so far, and the pattern I'm doing is out of this book, which I've shown you before. It was last year, it was a project cast on from last year, and because the weather's been so hot I haven't wanted to knit too much, so I decided to start it and get a good head start. So I'm doing this one. I've started one of the leaves, but I'm not very happy with how it's turned out, so I'm going to have a little look round and see if I can find some more leaves. But I'm not very it does look autumnal, got a bit of brown, bit of green, but I'm not very happy with it. It doesn't look very nice, but maybe once it's all together on the wreath it might look okay. But the wreath has got little acorns on it, different coloured leaves, which I'm going to do in some natural yarns. I think I might do it in some natural dyed yarns, and because it's going to be out of the sun on the garage door or on the house door, out the sun. And then I was thinking of putting pumpkins on it as well, and some other autumn stuff if I can find the pumpkins. Are they the pumpkins? No, they're apples. I was thinking of putting a few of those elements on as well, instead of all the leaves. It's got little wheat. It's got little apples on it, and it's got some raspberries on it as well, so I thought they might look nice. And then, where's the other page gone? Can't find it. Oh, there it is. Put some elements of that in as well, because that's got pumpkins on it and oak leaves. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of doing it more those colours for the leaves than the one that's on the wreath with the toadstools, and then adding the toadstools to it as well, and maybe a couple of wheat sheaths as well, because I think that would be really nice. So they're my plans for my wreath. As I say, I have made a start. I've got this yarn that's got brown and green in it, so I'm thinking of using that for some of the leaves, to give it that sort of autumn change look, and then using some of my hand dyed yarns for the leaves, because I've got some onion dyed yarns. What else have I got? I've got some daffodil. I've got some gold, because I did some onion dyes a couple of years ago, and I got 4 different colours out of one dye pot. No idea why, but that's in my first video that I ever did, my natural dye video that I did, the very first one. So I'll put a link to that in the I button up here for you, and you can have a look at the colours. I did ivy berries, I did red onion skin, orange onion skin, daffodil. I dyed a skirt with daffodils. Yeah, so that's in the first video, so I'll stick that in the I button for you. So that's my thinking for the wreath. So hopefully by the time I come back to you next week, I'm going to try and do a weekly podcast again. I'll have more to show you on the wreath. So yeah, I think that's it for that. Can't think of anything else. The main thing I've been working on the last 3 or 4 weeks has been my finished object, and I just really wanted to get that finished and get that done. I talked about it on my last podcast, so we'll go into that now, because I'm really excited about it, really excited about it. And it is this beauty. It's my crochet cardigan, and you know, it's absolutely gorgeous. I'll put it on for you. There you go, look at that. It's my favourite cardigan to wear at the moment. Needs some buttons on it, but yeah. I'm made up with it. Absolutely delighted with it. It needs some buttons on it. I'll pop a picture in for you so you can see it properly, but I'm definitely going to knit another one, to crochet another one. But what it was I started making a blanket, and I got bored with the blanket, and I loved the squares, and I thought those squares aren't going to go with the other wool that I've got for the blanket. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try crocheting a cardigan. So I used 6, 8, 10, 14, I used 18 squares, and then I edged each one with grey, and then I done an extra border on the grey and joined them together, crocheted them together. I should have blocked the squares before I put them together, but I didn't. It was a rookie mistake. I've never made a garment before with crochet squares, so I should have blocked the squares first. But I love the effect of how it's turned out. It's come out like a blowson jacket, so a puffy kind of cardigan that's cropped and fitted, so it looks okay. And then I did the cuffs at the bottom and did a scalloped edge, and then I did exactly the same thing on the main part of the body. And then after I joined it together, I did some treble crochet at the bottom to give this band, and then I did a scalloped edge along the neckband and did that all the way round, all the way across the neck. Now I am losing weight, but it's going to get a little bit baggy, so what I might do is pop a little piece of elastic across that crochet square at the back and just cinch it in a bit, and then as I lose the weight it'll tighten itself in. So that's all the extra detail I'm going to put on there, and then I might edge it with some bias binding just on that part of the neck, just to cover it, but we'll have to see. Maybe I can get some decorative elastic and then it won't matter. So yeah, I was thinking of making it into a channel along the back. So maybe the bias binding would work, and then I can make it into a channel at the back and it'll cinch it in a bit, because it is just a little bit big round the neck. But yeah, very pleased. So that's my only finished object today. As I say, I have been doing some natural dyes, and the one I did the other day was a conch off a beech tree that's local to me. Did you hear the red kite then in the background? So this is the colour I start with. It's just a natural lamb's wool, and then I put all 5 of my skeins in the dye pot at the same time, and the colour I achieved from that was this like rich beige colour. It's not quite beige, it's more of a tanning colour. Lovely colour. And then from then I added 1 pot to some iron water, 1 skein to some iron water, and 1 skein to a copper pan filled with water which had already boiled, cooled down, put the wool in, heated it up again. So that one's the iron water. You can just tell the difference. If I hold it up with the one that was done originally, you can see the difference there in the colour. This is the original, this is the iron water, and this is the first bath. And then the other skein I added to a copper pan, which is this one. So that's the natural, that's the copper pan, and that's the first wash. So they're the colours that I ended up with. I'm very pleased with them. I love this colour. I'll definitely do it in the iron pan again, because it's quite readily available to me here, so I can get as much as I want. So I'm definitely going to do this one again. This one's quite a rich colour as well, but I'm not as keen on it as this one. But yeah, very pleased with the outcome of those. This one was Shetland, this one was a mohair, no it wasn't, this one was Cotswold, this one was a Shetland, and these were just ordinary lamb's wool. So I'm very pleased with those. You can only tell the difference really in the colours when I hold it up with the cream. Push it forward, there you go. So yeah, I'll definitely do that again. So that was conch off a beech tree. I'll put a picture here of what that looks like for you. You usually find them on dead beech trees or at the base of living beech trees, and I found one at the side. It just fell off the tree, so I used that. I'm sure that if you took a little bit off the beech tree, it's not going to kill the tree, but you do end up with a lovely autumn brown colour. And I was thinking of using these in one of my leaves for my wreath, because I think that'll look nice, or for the wheat sheaves. I think that might be quite nice, mightn't it? So yeah, something to think about. So that was that. The other ones I've done, I did overnight last night, and that's this one. This one is goldenrod. Again, I'll hold it up to the skein. So this one's goldenrod, and this is out of my garden. I'm doing some videos, putting some videos together for you at the moment, and the video I did yesterday was using plants out of your garden, and goldenrod is something I have in my garden. So yeah, I just love the colour. It's got such a rich, sunny, autumn sunny colour yellow to it. So they're going to be in my dye kits, because I've done quite a bit of that. I've done about 150 grams of that. So you can really see the richness of that yellow. It's even darker yellow in real life than it is on the camera. It's beautiful. I love the way the sun's catching it. So what I love about natural dyes, I love it when the sun catches hold of the colour and it just radiates the colour. especially when you hang it out in nature. Now this one was Dyer's Chamomile, which I also have in my garden. I got it from a plant I got from B&Q. I used to have a really rich orange Dyer's Chamomile, but that's died to death, and I've only got the yellow left, so that's this one. And there's the original. Now there is a difference in the colour in real life. That one, the goldenrod, is lighter, and this one is a very dark yellow, golden yellow, but it's absolutely beautiful. I think it's gorgeous. So this is the original colour, and then this is the Dyer's Chamomile. So what I might do is I might put one back in and put it in with some citric acid and see if I can darken the colour even more, because I think that'll be lovely. And I think I'll do that as well with some of the goldenrod dye and see what it turns out like, because I just love the experimenting. But isn't that beautiful? Gorgeous colour yellow. Autumn. Because at the moment I've got lots of yellow in my garden, and that seems to be the predominant colour, so this will forever remind me of autumn in my garden in 2023. So yeah, so there you go, the difference in the colour. Very pretty, but it's a little bit darker in the shade, but in the light it's absolutely gorgeous. It radiates the sunshine, it's beautiful. Just to show you again, very happy. I haven't done any dyes for 2 years, I think. I've just been far too busy with the garden and getting the house straight, so I just haven't had the time. So as many of you will know, we moved into this house 3 years ago, and it's just been an ongoing project with the garden ever since I moved in. So yeah, this is the first time I've actually had a dye space set up. Tried to use a rocket stove last year, didn't work very well, far too wet, far too smoky. So I've set up the gas stove again in the shed now, and I've got a dye space. So I'm going to put a pergola up outside and make that into my permanent dye shed. And then in the winter I can sit in the shed, do some spinning or knitting in front of the fire, and have the pans on outside and keep an eye on them. So yeah, very happy lady. So that's the natural dyes I've been doing. The other thing I've been doing is some spinning, and I've been spinning some Welsh wool, Welsh mountain sheep. And this Welsh mountain sheep is from about 5 miles away from my home. And this is it. Beautiful colours. Lots of grey in there, lots of browns. I get them off a sheep farmer locally. And I was paying him £5 a fleece, but this year he just started giving me them because he just wanted to get rid of them, I think, and he knows I'll use them. So, and wool here is not worth anything. It's worth about 3p a fleece for the brown and about 80p a fleece for the white. So he's just not getting anything for them at all. So one lady down the road, I have offered to make her a rug, weave her a rug out of one of her fleece in exchange for 6 fleece off her and 7 off her daughter. So I'm going to weave them both a rug on my peg loom, but I'm just waiting for the weather to sort itself out so I can get the fleece out, because it's just far too hot to spin anything. It just melts in your hands. You get all sticky, all hot and sweaty, and it's just not a pleasurable experience. So I'm just waiting for the weather to sort itself out, and then I can spin that, and then I wash it once it's been spun. So I'm putting a video together of that for you as well. So there's quite a few videos to come in the autumn and the winter, because I'm doing one about spinning yarn that you've got into a new yarn, how to spruce it up and make it into a whole new yarn. I've got 5 skeins to do for a local lady who gave me all of that wool and all of that fabric, that wool fabric she gave me off her mum. So in exchange for that, I've said that I'll spin her some yarn that she can weave with. I talked about that in my last podcast, so put that in the I button as well. And I just haven't done it because the weather's just not been up to doing anything, and I've been just so busy with everything else. So I do need to get round to doing that. I've done a video about that, and I've sorted out what I'm going to do with it. I've started preparing it ready to spin. I've just emptied my wheel to do this, from doing this. So now that wheel's empty, because all 5 of my wheels have got something on them, I can then get round to doing that. So I might have a look at that this afternoon, and then she's going to weave with it. So I'm going to add sparkle to it, and art yarn, make it into an art yarn, make it into a bubble yarn, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, that said, this is the yarn I've spun and got off the wheel. I've got a little bit on each of my wheels because I wanted to experiment and see if the texture would be any different between each wheel, because it's just nice sometimes to see what the performance of each wheel is like, to see if there is a difference, because every wheel performs differently, and every wheel will do a different type of yarn. So I've got an Ashford Kiwi that does art yarns and lace weight. I've got an Ashford Joy that can spin art yarns and lace weight. I've also got my Bliss wheel, which I did this on, and you know, every time I spin on the Bliss wheel it comes out perfect. It doesn't matter how much I overspin it, by the time it's been plied it's absolutely perfect and just hangs straight. I'll show you, there's no twist back. Look at that, there's no twist back on it at all. So I must over ply when I do my plying, but even if I over twist my yarn it still comes out really even on the Bliss. I can't get that on either of my other 2 or 3 wheels that I use. The Lendrum is a new wheel to me, I haven't used it very often, so I'm experimenting with that. It's all going to be the same yarn, so I'm going to put it all into one garment, but I just thought it'd be interesting to see how the texture varies between the 2 yarns, between the 4 or 5 wheels. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing with this, and then I'm going to make it into a nice cardigan. I'm thinking of doing a grandad style cardigan for the winter and doing contrasting pockets. There was a pattern on Ravelry, I think it was called the Macaulay cardigan. I'll put a link up here for you and a picture here for you, and that was a crop grandad style cardigan, but I was thinking of making it longer and doing the contrasts on the neckband and the pockets, and using this yarn. So that's my project with that. Can't think of any other spinning things to tell you. What else am I doing? I've just washed all my yarns ready for my shop, and as they dry I'm going to photograph them and put them on Ko-fi. I know I've been talking about that for a while, but you know, the weeks and the months just pass me by, and before I know it the time's gone. But as I'm doing my new weaving kits, so I might start doing them this afternoon, getting the yarns ready. I've already started doing some of the yarns, but I need to get that finished so I can get the kits photographed and get them sorted out. I've got stitch markers to go in, I've got progress keepers to go in, I've got some little embroidery scissors with a like stitch marker on the end, like a key fob type thing on the end. I've got buttons, slate buttons, handmade slate buttons to go in. I've got some more to make. Yeah, so I've got quite a few bits and bobs to go in, so I might actually try and get round to that this afternoon while the weather's so hot. I can do that in the house. So yeah, so that's all the spinning content and things, I think. I think we'll talk about acquisitions now, because that's the exciting bit. And plans for what I want to knit next. So yeah, I went to my local wool shop, well, not local to me anymore, what used to be my local wool shop, and they had these gorgeous little bags. Can you see that? Isn't that gorgeous? It says just one more row. There you go, and all his little yarn around him, and he's knitting. So yeah, these were 50% off. Couldn't leave it there for that price. It would have been rude, wouldn't it? £4.50 for this lovely little Hessian bag. So I'm going to keep all my bits and bobs in it for my wreath. And then they also had these mugs. I've got a Stitch in Time. Which oddly enough is a book acquisition I want to show you. I've got Knit and Natter. And look, they were 50% off. It should have been £5.99 and they were 50% off. And then I've got to knit or not to knit. That is the question. And they're all knitting. So yeah, I was very happy with my purchases, my mugs. I may give them away as gifts, I haven't decided yet. I'm going to keep one for myself. And I think the other two may be gifts for Christmas. This bag, incidentally, has got little inside pockets as well. Ooh. This little bag's got inside pockets, look. It's got a waterproof lining. And then it's got little pockets for your scissors and your pockets for your needles. And then all this space inside. And it's lined. So yeah, just one more row. So yeah, I think these mugs might be a gift for Christmas. Keep one for myself. Unfortunately there was no box, but I can live with that. So they should have been £5.99 and they were half price as well. And as you know, I haven't bought much wool the last 2 years, so I treated myself. And I got this James Brett wool, all these lovely rich colours. So I quite fancy knitting that Midori jumper. And I was thinking of making it into a cardigan because I don't really wear a lot of jumpers. But I loved all the colours inside, look at that. Oop. So I'm hoping my local wool shop has got one because it was only £4.99 a ball. It's 100 grams, it's 80% acrylic, 20% wool, and 550 metres or 601 yards if you look in yards. And this colour shade is SHO3. But I just loved all the green contrast with the pink. So I'm going to have a look in my local wool shop and see if they sell it. And if they do, I'm going to get another ball and then I can make it into something else, because that'll mean then I've got 1,000 metres. I'd make a lovely long cardigan, wouldn't it, for the winter? Nice cosy wrap around this. So it's a double knit. I'm sure you could use it in a 4-ply pattern because it's very thin. It's more of a mohair kind of thickness than a double. So I'm sure you could put it to a 4-ply pattern and it would still work. And I'm sure you could use it in a mohair pattern because it's got a bit of a floof on it. A bit of a... You see all that halo on it. So yeah, James Brett, Shush double knitting, 100 grams, beautiful colours. So that's my first purchase of yarn, proper yarn in a wool shop for ages. Apart from what I bought for my birthday. Tell a lie, I bought 2 packs of of 100 grams of sock yarn, which I'm knitting at the moment. So yeah, I'm getting back into the swing of buying yarn again. Thought, why not? I've been knitting from stash for ages, but those colours just appealed to me. So yeah, that's what I got for my knitting acquisitions. I've also got book acquisitions. So since I last saw you, I purchased this Coronation Knits by Susan Crawford. I've been looking at this book for a while and it came up on eBay and I think it was £6.50 or £4.50. £4.50. And it was a new book, it's not second hand, and it's 14 classic designs for men, women and children, drawing inspiration from the late 1940s and early 1950s. Now I first looked at it and I thought, nothing in there I want to knit, but you know, I looked through it this morning and there's so much in there I want to knit. I think I want to knit all of them apart from one. So yeah, I really like this jumper and I like the idea of doing that from hand spun. So let's see if I can just get a picture of a jumper. I like this jumper and I'm thinking of doing that from natural dyes. I think that would look really nice done in a natural dyed yarn, and it is 4-ply. So yeah, I quite fancy having a go of dyeing some yarn. I'm putting it in that one. The next thing I really liked was, those socks. Like a swip swap, like what Kate Celine does. So I think I'll have a go with them. Ooh, and this. I love that jumper. Love, love, love that jumper. Do you know, that jumper might look nice in that. Ooh. Decisions. Maybe not. It says 264 metres per ball. And it looks like in my size it's going to be 7 balls. It's 1400 grams. I'd need another 2 of those balls. I do have a blue Angora, which might look nice in that. But that pattern's called Amy's. If you're interested in vintage knitting, I'm sure you can get just the pattern. There's a better picture of it. I'm sure you can get just the pattern on Ravelry. There's also this delightful coat. It's a children's coat. I wish it was an adult's. Take you forever to knit that, wouldn't it? So yeah, there's lots of nice patterns in here. There's a lovely pair of gloves. There's a lovely headscarf. So yeah, I highly recommend the book. I got it on eBay, as I say. Coronation Knits, Susan Crawford. I'm sure you could go to her website and pick it up. I want to get her latest book as well, called A Stitch in Time. I've still got some money left, and I thought that I would get a new book, A Stitch in Time 3. It's coming out in November, and that's all sorts of vintage knitting as well. I like the idea of knitting vintage. My mum had a knitted sweater done for me when I was younger, and it had the little holes in a diamond shape like that all over the sweater, and it was a yellow colour, and I just fancy having something else like that for myself as an adult. So I loved it. It was a lovely jumper. I wore it all the time when rah-rah skirts were fashionable. I used to wear that with a rah-rah skirt that my mum also had made for me. But yeah, I really love the idea of that. So I think that's going to be a new cast on for me when I can find the yarn to do it with, and I hopefully got enough yarn. Looks like it'll fit. She does the written pattern, and she does a diagram for the pattern as well. And these are original vintage patterns that she has done into modern English, and taken what could be seen as a difficult old-fashioned pattern to make it easy to knit. And I think she also does yarns as well to go with her vintage patterns. So if you want to knit it in vintage colours, you can also buy the yarn from her website as well. So highly recommend her. She's very good. But I'll need to do the 40-inch, and it's going to knit up with 7 balls to 3 1/4 mil needle, so it looks like it's a 4-ply. Yeah, it's a 4-ply. So I'm sure I'll find something to do that in. So that's one of my next knitting projects and book acquisition. The other book acquisition I got is this. A Stitch in Time, 20s, 30s and 40s. Now I found this on eBay as well, and I think it was about £5. But this book is what these books are taken from. Now I bought this one when she first started them. I wish I'd bought the book one, but I didn't at the time. It was only £25 when it came out. But this one I did get, and there is a pattern in there that I want to do as well. I think there's a bit of a vintage theme coming, which is this one. Can you see that? It's a beautiful pattern, beautiful V-shaped pattern, and I think it's 1940s. I'm pretty sure it's 1940s. She doesn't give you the history of where it came from, unfortunately. But it's done on a 2 1/4 mil needle. It's a luxury 4-ply. And then it changes to a 3 1/4 mil needle. But I just love that. I just love that pattern. So yeah, I'm going to try knitting that for myself for the winter. I watch a girl called Emily Kate Makes on YouTube. She does a lot of vintage knitting, and Retro Claude, and she does vintage knitting as well. And I think Emily Kate Makes has made this jumper. I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure I've seen it on one of her podcasts. I'm not too sure. So if you're interested in it, maybe have a look at her channel and see if she's got it on her channel. But I'm pretty sure she'd knitted it. And I'm pretty sure that this pattern is from the 1940s, judging by the V shape that's on the back of it. I'm looking at the hairstyle in the pattern as well. But it doesn't actually say. Oh yes, it does. 1938 it was from. So if I can turn that book up, I'll show you the original pattern. There's the original pattern. So yeah, it says Jack Frost Blouse Book 1938. So yeah, that's my next cast on as well. So there's going to be 2 vintage knits up in the offering over the next few months. Because I'm not a fast knitter. But have you seen the picture on the back of that? She's got a ciggy. You wouldn't have that these days, would you? But yeah, this book is great. It's really old. You've seen the swimsuit. Look at that. Not sure I'd fit in that. Not with the shape I am these days. I really like this as well. I think that's really pretty. With the little bows and the texture. It's got old adverts in it as well. There. Advertising a film. I like that. That's nice. But yeah, it's got some lovely patterns. I like this as well. That sweater. Very Fred Astaire films. 1935 to 1937 it says on that one. Woman's Weekly 1936. Look at that. Isn't that stunning? Unfortunately all the pictures are in black and white. But that one was from Tailored Look 1935 to 37. So yeah, there's a lot in this book. If you can get it, I highly recommend it. There are still some lovely patterns that you can knit. There's even underwear. Oh, and that's... Not sure I'll be knitting them anytime soon. But there's also crochet in here as well. I don't think my husband would thank me for that. I think some things should just be left in the past, and that's one of them. That tickled me, that. So yeah, there's quite a few things if you want to make a hat. There's a cloche hat. I rather like that. Yeah, that's rather nice, rather fetching. That's nice as well. So yeah, if you can get hold of it, I highly recommend it. There's loads of lovely patterns in it. It's this one, A Stitch in Time. And I think Susan Crawford has taken some of her inspiration from that book to produce these books. So if you can get hold of them, do. The book 1 now is worth about £250, I think, for a first edition. I'm not sure about this one, what this was worth if you sell it on. I think this is a first edition as well. Oh no, this is second. But I'm not planning to sell them. So yeah, they're my future knits and my acquisitions. Gosh, we've gone on a bit today, haven't we? It's a long episode today. The other thing I showed you a while ago was this 52 weeks of socks. This is the last thing. And I'm thinking of working my way through this book and making different pairs of socks for myself for the winter. Because my husband has said he'd like a pair of socks as well. So I want to get making socks more readily, learn how to make them properly. and I just love that pair of socks. So I think that's going to be my next pair of socks. It's got like a honeycomb stitch. 2 skeins of mohair blend 4-ply. Gosh, it's knit on small needles, 1.5mm to 2.5mm needles. That'll take a while. So yeah, I'm thinking of knitting them. And I think that's about it. So if that's all you're here for, thank you very much for joining me. I'm just going to talk a little bit about life stuff. And that'll be that. Anyway, yeah, not much to talk about really, not much going on around here other than I've been working really hard in the garden. I've been working really hard on my other channel, my Wildwood Cottage Diary channel, where I document my life here in Wales and I talk about all the different things that are going on. I'm doing a thing called Vlogtember on there this year, and I'm vlogging for the whole of September every day and showing you different things about the autumn here and how the seasons change in Wales. So that's been fun. I'm also doing the 30-day challenge of walking or running for 30 days for the month of September. So I've been getting out doing that. Up to day 5 so far. And yeah, I've been really enjoying it. I went out down the forestry track yesterday and went running down there. So that was nice. It was a lovely day. But it's just been far too hot from the minute I got up this morning. So I think I'm just going to do a 30-minute walk today and no running, because I don't want to wear myself out and find that I just end up not being able to finish the 30 days. So yeah, other things, I've got my polytunnel up and going, I've got my tomatoes and cucumbers growing. The cucumbers have been delicious, so that's been really nice. And as I say, I've been getting back into my weaving and my spinning and my knitting. So yeah, I've got plenty to talk about again, so that's why I just wanted to enjoy the summer. Haven't wanted to do any other podcasts or crafts, or I just wanted to enjoy the sun and enjoy the weather, so it's been lovely. So yeah, I think that's it for today. I'm going to sign off now because we're getting up to nearly an hour. So I will see you in the next podcast, and I'm hopefully going to be back with you next week and hopefully have some new cast-ons and some more progress with my wreath. So yeah, I think that's it for me for today. I'm going to sign off now. The sun keeps disappearing and I've got to go and put my washing on. So if you have enjoyed my video, do like and subscribe to keep up to date with my channel. There's lots to come here on my YouTube channel. There's all my natural dyes to come, there's my weaving videos to come. Got lots of plans for you through the winter months, which I am recording now, as I said earlier. So if you are interested, do tune into those things and subscribe to keep up to date. It's lovely to have all the new subscribers, by the way, and all you lovely people who've been watching my weaving video about art yarns. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for coming back. So yeah, lovely to have you here. Enjoy the rest of your week, enjoy your crafts, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now. Bye bye.